It's very difficult to be this heavy, and it's getting worse.
If I don't get this fixed, I could potentially be bedbound.
I've barricaded myself inside of this emotional prison.
While some episodes have featured siblings or twins, Gino DeCunto and Nico Martone are the first pair of cousins to be featured on the show. And Gino's story is one of those where you can't help but wonder, what on earth were they thinking? Gino's journey began with an all-too-familiar backstory of emotional eating. Growing up, Gino faced numerous hardships, including bullying and a lack of emotional support. Instead of dealing with his feelings, he found solace in food. And boy, did he go all out. Imagine having pizza and ice cream for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For Gino, it wasn't just comfort food, it was a lifestyle.
Overall, my back is the worst. Honestly, the most difficult thing about my day is probably taking a shower. Walking up the stairs feels like I'm carrying cement bags under me and I'm trying to lift them all up the stairs. Plus, I cannot fit into most spaces. So, taking a shower sucks at my size.
The tipping point for Gino came when his weight ballooned to a staggering 684 pounds. Realizing he was on a fast track to an early grave, Gino decided to seek help from the one and only DR. Now, for short. If you've ever watched the show, you know DR. Now doesn't sugarcoat anything. A perfect match for someone like Gino.
I'm gonna go down, you're not gonna make it, okay? All right, so I'm gonna get some booklet for you and give you all the instruction that you need to work on it, okay?
Yes.
All right, I'll be back.
Nice meeting you.
He's about the best you're gonna get.
60 pounds in a month.
If it's from this day on, then it's 2 pounds a day.
2 pounds a day, but listen, from the way you've been eating.
Their first meeting was nothing short of dramatic. Gino waddled into DR Now's office, huffing and puffing like he'd run a marathon, though it was just from the parking lot. Dr. Now, with his signature deadpan expression, asked Gino about his eating habits. Gino, in a surprising moment of honesty, admitted to his outrageous consumption of junk food. You could almost see Dr. Now's eyes widen, but just barely.
Some are very frustrating because he does have some mood swings because he's hungry, but the breathing, the moving is much better.
And grab a fork. Just cooperate with me. I don't want to argue. I really don't want to argue. Already going through enough of a life change, you know? I just want things to be smooth sailing. There's definitely negativity. We just don't get along well these days.
Dr. Now's advice was straightforward: lose 50 pounds in 1 month. Simple, right? For anyone else, maybe, but for Gino, it was like asking a cat to bark. Dr. Now handed him a strict diet plan, devoid of the greasy, sugary delights Gino cherished. No more pizza! No more ice cream! Dr. Now commanded, and Gino's face fell faster than a souffle in a thunderstorm.
Yeah, I can feel it.
Good, awesome, take a break.
That's how strong the bench is. Hope it's strong enough. Oh, yeah. I was holding those bolts pretty nice.
Fast forward to the second visit, and Gino's progress was, you guessed it, pathetic. He had lost a meager 10 pounds. Dr. Now wasn't having it. He gave Gino a stern lecture, reminding him that this was his last chance to turn his life around. "Do you want to live or die?" Dr. Now asked bluntly. Gino, looking like a kid caught with his hand in the cookie jar, nodded earnestly, promising to do better. But promises, as we know, are easy to make.
First, our focus is on Houston. We're gonna do what we can to stay on track and find a spot to live. We've been looking for a place, but it's taking a little longer than we thought because we decided to go in and try to buy a house in Houston that we can flip after the year is up. So we're waiting to find the right place for us. And in the meantime, I'm planning to move out of my mom's place and in with Nico.
Gino's progress, or lack thereof, was a constant source of frustration. It's easy to judge from the coach, but let's be real, changing lifelong habits is hard. However, Gino's refusal to fully commit was maddening. Despite the slow progress, Gino's determination eventually paid off. Even though he ran into major issues while losing weight, he was finally approved for weight loss surgery. Gino lost 263 pounds during his episode, an incredible feat considering his earlier setbacks. So here's some unsolicited advice for anyone struggling like Gino. Take that first step, stick to your plan, and don't wait until it's too late.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, we're going to room 5.
All right, thank you.
That's even more than the goal. So, hopefully that means the doctor will be willing to operate on me.
Growing up in North Carolina, Serita's relationship with food turned toxic early on. Serita hit rock bottom at 31, tipping the scales at 603 pounds. Seeking salvation, she turned to the no-nonsense Dr. Now. Her daily menu? A heart-stopping parade of fast food, sugary drinks, and snacks. Essentially a caloric carnival. Picture starting your day with a breakfast that could feed a small village, then doubling down with a dinner that could challenge an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's baffling how such habits can become a daily routine. Ever feel like you're stuck in a binge-eating loop with no escape? Yep, Serita's been there too.
I'm scared to sleep, if I can be honest about it. I'm scared that I'm not gonna wake up because of my weight. I done had some health scares and I got doctors tell me I'm too big. So, yeah. Can you go down there and help me? My weight, it scares me now.
Dr. Now handed Serita a strict diet plan. High protein, low carb foods, and a calorie limit that must have felt like a crash landing from her previous diet. The initial shock, understandable. It's like telling a coffee addict to switch to herbal tea overnight. Serita struggled, no doubt, but the stakes were her life. Her first weigh-in post-diet was underwhelming. She shed some pounds, but not enough. That look of disappointment, it's gut-wrenching, yet motivating. A stark reminder of the mountain she had to climb.
It was not bad. All veggies. It's been a couple weeks since we saw Dr. Now, and me and Lawrence have been working mostly on our diet. Now, today, we're gonna add some exercise into the mix. That was good. Here you go, grab my blanket and the volleyball.
Ouch, ouch, ouch.
My goal is to make the workouts fun.
Serita did lose some weight, but it was a slow crawl. Dr. Now gave her a daunting challenge. Lose another 25 pounds in a month after her initial 59-pound drop. Instead, she gained 9 pounds over 4 months. Ouch! This setback pushed her to seek therapy. Sometimes untangling emotional knots is just as crucial as physical transformation. Her therapist helped her strive for Dr. Now's next goal, 40 pounds in 2 months. Serita lost 29 pounds, a commendable effort, even if it fell short. Dr. Now, seeing her progress, dangled the surgery carrot. Keep going, and surgery's on the table.
So what is your husband doing to help you out with that?
Ask him.
I don't know. He's ignoring me. He's not even looking at me. He's looking at the floor. So what are you doing to help her?
That's a good question.
Who buys all those chips and all this stuff?
Me.
Her third visit brought a sliver of hope. Serita finally hit a significant milestone, enough to be considered for surgery. Her joy was contagious. It's these little wins that fuel the arduous journey. After a year with Dr. Now, she dropped 97 pounds, weighing in at 506 pounds. This wasn't just about numbers, it was a testament to her grit and determination. The surgery went well, and Serita's post-op progress was a beacon of hope. By the episode's end, she lost a total of 97 pounds. A hard-earned victory, proving her resilience.
One thing about me, I'm not shy of vegetables. I love vegetables, so I would have preferred more veggies than shrimp. Today I wrote a letter to my mom. I'm writing this letter to her because I feel like it plays a big part in my stress and why I eat a lot and why I eat so much. So it plays a big role in that, and I feel like it's gonna help me let it go.
John's story started like many others, with a seemingly unending cycle of overeating and emotional turmoil. John's weight gain was rooted in a troubled childhood. He grew up in a chaotic household where food was the only constant comfort. By the time he was a teenager, John was already tipping the scales at over 300 pounds. Emotional eating became his coping mechanism for dealing with family issues and low self-esteem. Can you imagine carrying the weight of your past, both literally and figuratively? It's like lugging around an emotional backpack filled with bricks.
I'm gonna get ready for work. In our day-to-day life, I do a lot of things taking care of John because he can't do the simple things for himself. It's a lot, but it is worth it to me because I love John and I would do anything.
His family played a pivotal role, both positively and negatively. John's mother, though well-intentioned, enabled his eating habits, often cooking large, calorie-laden meals to show her love. Meanwhile, his father's harsh words only drove John deeper into his food addiction. The emotional seesaw was brutal. But hey, family dynamics are a complicated beast. We all know someone who shows love in the most counterproductive ways.
My life is nothing like I thought it would be. And every day, it seems like things get worse and worse for me because I just keep getting bigger and bigger. And I feel like my life's at an all-time low. My body makes me feel less than human. So I try to avoid mirrors at all costs. I feel like if I ignore the weight, I can just pretend like my weight's not getting that out of control.
The turning point for John came when he realized he couldn't perform basic tasks without help. Bathing, walking, even breathing had become monumental challenges. That's when he and Lonnie decided to visit Dr. Now, hoping for a miracle. Walking into Dr. Now's office, John was a bundle of nerves and hope. You could almost feel the tension through the screen. Would this be their salvation or just another dead end?
This should fit you really good. I'm freaking out.
I'm freaking out too.
There's just too much damn weight to lose. And gonna get yelled at. And I'm doing everything. I haven't cheated. I mean,
I'm afraid I'm not gonna hit it, but.
Oh, that looks real nice.
But.
Put this on. You gotta put it on. You're gonna look fun. It's gonna be like a Hawaiian party.
John weighed in at a staggering 687 pounds. Dr. Now's first meeting with John was, to put it mildly, a reality check. Dr. Now highlighted the dangers of John's current path: heart disease, diabetes, early death. You know, the usual bedtime stories for the morbidly obese. Dr. Now emphasized the psychology associated with food addiction as much as the gastric sleeve surgery his patients receive. He advised John to start with a strict 1,200 calorie diet. It was like asking a marathon runner to start with a sprint. But hey, desperate times call for desperate measures.
Me and John are at Dr. Now's for a follow-up and to find out what the future holds from the scale. Because either we've hit our goals and we get approved for weight loss surgery, or we fail and we won't get the help we need. Dr. Now gave us the big goal of losing 80 pounds over 2 months.
John's progress after the first visit was disheartening. He struggled to follow the diet, often slipping back into old habits. It was as if his taste buds were on a mission to sabotage his life. John's progress was painfully slow. Dr. Now's patience was wearing thin. He questioned John's commitment and pointed out the glaring truth. Without serious dedication, surgery was off the table. It was a wake-up call, but one that John seemed to keep hitting snooze on.
How much is that total? 88, 98, 108?
From the very beginning?
Yeah, I think from the very beginning. I think that's 108. I'm really excited about how well I did. And this time, I know Dr. Now will be too.
At the last appointment, I was at 619. So if I lost the 60 pounds that Dr. Now wanted.
Finally, after months of struggle, John was approved for the surgery. It was a bittersweet moment. He had barely met the minimum requirements, and it was clear this was a last-ditch effort. The surgery itself was a success, but the real challenge was just beginning. By the end of the episode, John had lost an impressive 294 pounds, bringing his weight down to 393 pounds. This was no small feat, yet it was just a fraction of the journey he needed to undertake.
And we'll just start communicating better.
And y'all don't ever be afraid to tell me something. Let's don't let this grow. Let's let it go out and be healthy. We all need it.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
I'm so proud of you guys. But I've got to get back home.
All right.
Chris, hailing from a small town in Texas, starts his episode by recounting how his weight spiraled out of control. Imagine a diet of multiple large pizzas in one sitting, endless bags of chips, and gallons of soda. It's like watching a food horror movie. If you're thinking, how can one person consume so much? You're not alone. It's a hard reality to swallow, no pun intended. Chris's story is a stark reminder of how emotional trauma can manifest in our bodies. Food became his shield, but also his prison.
Everything is limited now. And every day it gets worse, and eventually I'm not going to be able to get up out of bed.
Chris decided enough was enough and sought out DR. Now. Can we take a moment to appreciate the guts it takes to admit you need help and then do it on national TV? At their first meeting, Dr. Now was blunt, as always. He didn't sugarcoat the reality. Chris was killing himself with food. He laid down the law with a strict diet plan, emphasizing lean proteins and vegetables and cutting out the junk. Sounds simple, right? But for someone like Chris, it's like asking us to live without our smartphones. Imagine the horror.
Not having to have somebody else take your trash out for you it's pretty nice. So it's just those things you don't really think of until you can't do it anymore. It's something I can definitely do now.
So, Chris's first weigh-in was, to put it mildly, pathetic. He tipped the scales at 620 pounds. Watching that number flash on the screen was a gut punch. But hey, we've all been there, stepping on a scale and bracing ourselves for the worst. Dr. Now's advice was clear. Stick to the plan or face dire consequences. No more excuses, no more enabling. It was time for tough love. Dr. Now explained that his goal is to help patients build a healthy lifestyle in the long term, which sometimes includes surgical intervention. It's like he's saying, get your act together or else.
I'm also doing really well with my diet. I read Dr. Now's book and all the papers he gave me, and I feel like I've learned the ins and outs of his 1,200 calorie a day diet.
Eat the lettuce.
But I've added some bigger steps onto it for me, because every 5 days I'm fasting for 5 days. I didn't eat anything in that time.
Now, Chris had a strong motivation to change. His daughter, Zooey. He wanted to be more mobile and spend quality time with her. This desire pushed him to stick to Dr. Now's program. Progress was slow, painfully slow. Chris had lost some weight at his second visit, but not nearly enough. Dr. Now questioned Chris's commitment and hinted that perhaps Chris wasn't taking things seriously. Chris defended himself, but deep down, he knew he wasn't giving it his all. It's like when you half-heartedly follow a New Year's resolution knowing you could do better. Chris had to confront his demons head on.
Financially, it was the stupidest move we've ever made. But honestly, it was probably the best move we could have all made ever.
Well, okay, well, that's good. You have been sticking with diet and losing weight. But the question is, how long are you going to be able to maintain that on your own? As long as you do, I don't have any problem for you to keep doing what you're doing. But I thought the only reason you want to do my program was that you needed to like weight loss surgery.
So here we are, Chris slowly, but surely making progress. Over time, he managed to low-see over 250 pounds, dropping to 364 pounds by the end of his episode. Remarkably, Chris did this on his own without opting for weight loss surgery, even though it was approved for him. He felt surgery was a great option for some, but wanted to see if he could manage his weight independently. This decision was a testament to his determination and commitment. I mean, how many of us can say we'd make the same choice?
All right, your turn. All right, there we go. It feels good to be hitting these goals, and now I want to see the same thing for my brother and my mom.
Works for me.
All right.
Your turn. Now your turn.
It's really cool to be doing this as a family.